Hello, crafty friends. It's Lori Bradley here in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and it is time for Fun Fold Friday. Today's card, I am giving you a little sneak peek of some of the products that are available starting Wednesday, September 3rd from the Autumn Toile suite, and it is beautiful. If you love fall, this is the suite for you. It's also a sneak peek of some of the designer series paper that is in my paper share and product share starting next week as well. So if you're watching and you love this paper and you want to get a little bit of it to try it out, the paper share might be the thing for you. So today's card is a center panel pop-up is what I'm going to call it. The card lays flat, goes into the envelope, but then it pops up and it stands up and your recipient can display. Obviously on the front there's no place to write, but there's a great panel on the back where you can write whatever you want to. So I have all my pieces cut, and I actually stamped and colored the decoration for the front so that you didn't have to watch that. But I did want to point out that I cheated just a little bit when I did my coloring, and I'm going to pull it up so you can see it. Usually we use our Memento black to color. I actually used the brown, the early espresso ink to color it. I figured if it messed up just a little bit, it kind of blended in, and it actually worked very well. So I just wanted it to match my cardstock and my paper. All right, so we're going to start with an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock, just regular old half sheet of cardstock, and I'm going to score it. Now this is probably the hardest part of the whole thing, and I'm going to score it at 1 7/8, and those eighths get everybody, but it's that first longer line right behind the two. Each of these are 16ths, so just kind of watch that. You got to divide it into 8 pieces and do that. So that's 1 7/8. I'm going to pull this out because I need that. 3, do that right at 3. Okay. And then we're going to go at 5.5. That's pretty easy. And then 6 5/8, which is the, let me scoot that over. There's the half line, that's a 16th, so then that would be an 8. So that's 6 5/8 right there. If you have any questions or need help with that, let me know, because it's tricky. It's tricky, and some people have more trouble than others. So I've got my espresso base scored at 1 7/8, 3, 5.5, and 6 5/8. You don't have to fold it necessarily yet. You can if you want to, just so you've got, see where your lines are. Because we're going to attach this DSP, and we're going to attach it all on the same side. So I've cut 2 panels of the same pattern of designer series paper, and that is 1 5/8 by 5 1/4. And we just want a little border around both sides. I have to hold it up because I can't see if I don't have it facing me. This paper is beautiful. Like, I'm not necessarily a fall girl, but I texted a friend and said, I classed up my repertoire here, and I think I really like it. So hopefully you like it as well. All right, so we're gonna put those on the outside 2 panels. So they're gonna be even. Okay, so we've got that. Then I have a panel for the middle, and I'm going to use an opposite pattern. That's obviously not going to be very pretty with it, but I don't want it to be super noticeable. I just want a little bit of a texture around the outside. So I'm going to put that one on, and this one is 2 1/4, and I will have all these dimensions in the comments when I type this up, but it is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. So it's the same length, just a little bit wider, because the center panel is wider than the other one. Okay, so we have our panel. Now I have a 2 2 by 5 inch, and that's gonna be on here. So you'll see a little bit of that pattern around the edge, but I'm gonna stamp this, and I have 2 of these ready because you never know when I'm gonna mess up. So I'm gonna stamp this with the Autumn Wishes. It's just gonna be a pretty little Autumn Wishes card. You can write whatever you want on the inside or the back. All right, now I've gotta decide where to put this. So I'm gonna scoot it down just a little bit further. And it's a little bit harder to see because it is the not photopolymer, it's cling. But if you've seen any announcements from Stampin' Up, I think that's close enough. You will know that the cling red rubber, which is this type of stamp, is going away. They've had trouble with the supplies to make the red rubber, and so they decided to go ahead and just discontinue them starting, I believe, with the new releases in November. So that way they're in front of the curve and they're not trying to play catch up, or they're not behind the 8 ball because they don't have the right, they don't have the supplies. So that way things won't go on back order so much, hopefully. All right, so I'm gonna apply that right on the front. So that'll be our front. Now I can bend it a little more. I'm gonna fold that down and then that one back. And same on the other side. We'll make sure that our score lines are crisp. If you have your bone folder handy, that's a great tool for that. So it's gonna stand up like this so you can see. I'm gonna go ahead and put my vanilla piece on the back. The one on the back is a little bit different, but it's the same as this designer series paper on the front panel. It's 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. I'm not gonna stamp anything on there. I'm just gonna leave that blank. It might be to your benefit to just not attach that yet if you have trouble writing when things are folded, because these are folded a little bit. So that'll be where you write, where you sign your name. And that'll be what the back looks like when it comes out of the envelope. Okay, so let's decorate this. Like I said, I've colored this using Stampin' Blends. I use Cajun Craze, Mossy Meadow, and actually the corn and the stems are pecan pie. And believe it or not, we don't have any espresso blends. I did not know that until I went looking for them today and I realized, oh, we don't have those. All right, so the irregular weave trim is pretty awesome also. Almost has a little bit of a gold look, but it's more of a linen sort of material. And I'm going to, this is part of the Autumn Toile suite as well. And I just like to tie things and put tape on the back, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna loop that, except, there we go. I had it crooked. It's gonna go like that, right on the back. Do that with Scotch tape. I use that a lot, but I feel like that's the easiest way to attach ribbon, and I always put it on the back of whatever my sentiment is or whatever my focal point is. It just makes it easier. All right, and we're gonna attach that right here on the front of our card. And I'm going to use dimensionals because that ribbon is a little bit thick. So we'll just put some dimensionals on just to make sure it stays nicely. I am more of a spring summer girl, but I think I really like this suite. And as a matter of fact, this is the suite that my ladies requested for card class this month. So look for that to come soon. Let's attach this right on the front. And then the only thing left are the embellishments. And the embellishments are called streaked dots. And they're kind of a brown, almost a cat eye look. If you're a nail person, you get your nails done, you might know what the cat eye look is, where it's just looks almost marbled. It looks almost like marbles. So let's see. Let's put, there's large and small. So I'm gonna put one down here and then maybe a couple at the top. I'll use the smaller ones at the top. Right there. Since it's up, it's a little bit harder. All right, so there is your center pop-up. So we've got our decoration on the front with this pretty ribbon and the embellishments and the pumpkin paper. If you wanted, you could put designer series paper or a contrast cardstock right here, but I think it's just pretty the way it is. And then on the back is your place to write. Let me show you really quick. So there's our card. There's our center panel pop-up. The paper in this suite is so pretty. The foxes, very vibrant. And then just a neutral stripe with espresso and pecan pie. You could use that for a manly birthday card and it would be perfect. The pheasants, my brother-in-law actually goes to North Dakota sometimes to hunt pheasants, so I think this would be a perfect birthday card for him. And then the pretty leaves on the back of that. And then we have our pumpkins that I used in the pumpkin patch, along with some corn, with a nice neutral background, and then the trees. And the bundle has a tree die cut that is so pretty, and so we'll be using that to make fall leaves as well. And then the back of that is the brown check that we used for our card. So thank you so much for joining me. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week for Fun Fold Friday.